Trees can be big like these black cherries and apples, or small like these white spruces with a long way to grow. Trees can have rough bark like this black cherry. Some people say that this bark looks like burnt potato chips. Trees can have smooth bark like this gray birch. Can you see all of those holes made by a yellow-bellied sapsucker? Trees make buds and flowers and leaves. Look at these buds on a young beech tree. Trees make all types of seeds and seed holders. This is a pine cone from a white spruce. It's all closed up. And trees are homes for birds and other animals. This is a mourning dove nest in a Norway spruce in our front yard. Our vernal pool sit spot is at the edge of the forest, surrounded by different trees. Let's visit. Oh, look, someone else has been here. A deer. Can you see its hoof print? Hello, old friend.
It is Tree Week, and we have learned so much from the naturalists at Sheldrake this week. I am sitting right beside our vernal pool sit spot. There's a tree right in front of me, and its roots come down, down, down into the vernal pool, and they are covered in moss. This tree is part of our vernal pool system, and the tree itself is a system, taking water up through its roots that go through the ground, bringing it up, 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 up to the branches, out to the leaves, producing flowers, sometimes seeds, sometimes cones, giving us oxygen through those leaves, creating shelter and homes for all kinds of animals. We've talked about many things over the past few weeks, and I'm thinking a lot, and I imagine you are thinking a lot about how all these parts of the forest and of our world work together. I wrote a poem a long time ago in which I said, when the fall leaves fall down, they remind me of love letters. And I kind of want to write love letters back to all the trees. Trees do a lot for us, and we can do for the trees too, just by being out here, getting to know them, paying attention to them, learning what it is the trees give to us, and learning how we can take care of them too. So this week, we continue our conversation about trees, but trees, of course, are not on their own. Trees aren't alone. Trees work together with everything in the forest, with everything in our neighborhood. Trees work together with us, with plants, with animals, little and big, birds of the sky. Trees, no matter where you live, no matter where I live, and no matter where we'll live in the future, we will have trees.
But before we talk more about trees, let's look for tadpoles. Here you can see a little tadpole, and I am going to see if I can make him move for you. There he goes. Oh, bye-bye. And now, back to Tree Talk in a new spot.
Listen to those birds. Hello, wild writers of Mamaroneck, kindergarten and first grade friends. I'm really happy to see you again. The birds, I think, know that we're talking again because they're all out singing like crazy. This week, we're really thinking about trees. And I'm sitting underneath some trees. I'm sitting underneath some really large coniferous trees, and right next to me, when I look to the side, I saw a pine cone right here. Also, there are some twigs and branches that have fallen from other trees. You can see some young trees coming up here, and if I reach into the ground, I'll find some old needles from the coniferous trees, and if I keep reaching, I'll find some decomposing leaves from the deciduous trees, from the trees with regular leaves. So trees have needles or leaves, and you can see right where I'm sitting, there are bits of both turning back into soil. So I'd like to share with you something I did in my nature journal this week. Trees, unlike birds, do not fly away. So it's very easy to sit and study one and to draw it and to write about it. I did a different kind of drawing this week. It's called a blind contour drawing. And in a blind contour drawing, the artist doesn't look. So what we do is we choose something to look at. And instead of looking at the paper and following the paper with our eyes, what we do is we follow the shape of whatever it is we're looking at and follow that with our eyes as our pen moves on the paper. I'll show you one that I did, and then I'll let you watch me try it. So not near here, but in a different area of my yard earlier, I did a blind contour drawing of a Norway spruce. And you can see here that it is certainly not a perfect scientific drawing, but by looking at the shape of the tree and not at my paper, allowing my eyes to follow the tree, that helped me understand the shape of the tree differently, even if you might not look at this and know right away it's a Norway spruce. So let me show you what it looks like to do this kind of a contour drawing. Turning to a new page, and I'm going to turn here and look at a tree that I can see there, and I'll just try this for just a few seconds so you can watch me do it. I'm going to look at that tree and not at my paper. You can see I'm letting my hand follow the shape, but I am not looking. And here it is. It doesn't look exactly like the tree, but I felt like I got to know the tree a little better when I did that. So that tree, I haven't gone over to look at it to see what kind it is to study. I'll do that for next time. But the tree that I did earlier, and I spent a little more time, you'll see there are more lines on this one with the Norway spruce. I did some notes around it. I wrote, a bird is walking here. I wonder if it wants to build a nest. There are many needles. It's reaching for the sun. It's sweeping low like it's bowing or dancing. And then I said, to me, these branches look like they're swoopy and droopy. Then I came inside, but before I did, I drew how its needles look hanging down, and I drew what its bark looks like, which to me looks like the pieces of a puzzle. And I brought inside a pine cone, and then there was also an inside of a pine cone and a couple seeds. So these inside drawings, I did look while I was making them. I looked, and then I drew, and then I looked, and then I drew. But sometimes when I'm doing a nature drawing, I'll look and then look away and look at the object, and I go back and forth. So this might be something you'd like to try this week. Sometimes people do contour drawings where they don't look at the paper at all, and sometimes people do them where they look just once in a while, but mostly look at the object. So then for writing, here's what I did, and I'm going to encourage you to try the same thing. Oh, here's another contour drawing I did of a different tree. And I did write an I wonder. I wonder how long it will take for this tree to make fruit. I would like to draw or take photos of a fruit growing every day until it is ready to eat. And I really love trees, so I thought I would adopt a tree. And so that Norway spruce that I took all that time doing the contour drawing of, I thought, I'm going to adopt that tree, I'm going to make that my tree, and I'm going to write a letter to that tree. Even though I know the tree can't write back, I can write a letter to the tree, and I can pretend that the tree can write back. So I knew it was a Norway spruce. I looked it up online, and then I asked my husband to be sure, and those drooping down needles give the hint that it's a Norway spruce. So here's the letter I wrote. And a letter, I always put the date, May 5th, and then I write dear, and then I sign my name. Dear Norway spruce, when I look at you, I see your branches sweeping the sky. Your needles are hanging down. Your needles are like my fingers, but I only have 10 fingers, and you must have thousands of needles. Can you feel the rain and wind on all of your needles? Are you sad when your pine cones fall off? Your friend, Amy. And then on this page, I drew it again with a couple of cones on the ground, and I'm going to write a letter back from Norway Spruce to me, and I don't know what Norway Spruce would say to me, but I get to make it all up. So this will be fun for me to do. I'll share this with you next time, and I did make myself another special page for trees I see. I'm going to write down, just like I did with birds, trees that I know are in my yard, and then I'll get to know them better. Sometimes it's really neat to look at the bark, then look at the leaf when it comes out, then look at whatever kind of seed it has or whatever kind of flower, and start to put all those pieces together. So when you see one Norway spruce, then when you see another, you'll know what it is. Or when you see one sugar maple, when you see another, you'll know what it is. You'll understand the sugar maple pattern or the Norway spruce pattern and how those pieces go together. So trees are dear good friends to us, and I encourage you to adopt a tree, draw it either by looking or by not looking, and write it a letter, and then let it write a letter back to you. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye. Trees and people live together. The power company cut several branches of these Norway spruces so that the lines could go through, but they're still so beautiful. This is a new sugar shack right next to our property. You can see the tip of our barn way behind it. Our neighbors are tapping the sugar maple trees to make syrup. And they gave some of their delicious maple syrup to us. Here you can see some on a Belgian waffle. Sometimes people grow trees inside. This is a calamondin tree I once had in our living room. These maple trees are in full bud and flower for spring. Look at those little green leaves against the blue sky. When I walk up the hill in these early days of spring, it looks like the trees are all whispering to each other in green. Take a look at this dead elm tree. You can see the shelf fungus at its base. Shelf fungus is a decomposer, and that means this tree is on its way to becoming soil again. We can learn more about trees by spending time outside, by writing about trees, drawing trees, reading about trees, and collecting tree treasures. I wish you a joyful week of tree. Learn more about blind contour drawing and modified contour drawing from this handout by Claire Walker Leslie. In a blind contour drawing, don't lift your pen or pencil from the page. Younger students can talk about this way of drawing with an older sibling or adult. Write wild, Mamaroneck friends. Hug a tree.